This is the brand new 2025 Adidas Predator Elite flip tongue, and today we're going to review it. We're going to take a closer look at the things like the technology, the specs, the colorway, the fit, and also talk about how it's different from last year's 2024 model. And make sure you stick around to the end because we're going to talk about the boot bag, which is probably my favorite change. Welcome to the Boot Perspective YouTube channel. For those that don't know me, my name is Dhiranesh. I'm the owner of the Boot Perspective, and today I'm doing my first ever boot review on YouTube. And what a boot to start with, these brand new Predator flip tongue for 2025. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe as well. And yeah, let's get straight into it. So to start with, we're going to talk about the colorway of the boot. Now, I think this is one of the best colorways I've ever seen. It's actually inspired by the Champagne Predator Mania from back in 2002, which at the time of filming this video, Adidas are actually re-releasing a remake of it. By the time you guys are watching this video, it'll probably already be out and probably sold out as well because they're gonna fly. But it's inspired of that from 2002. You've got a base colorway, which is a cream off-white kind of color. On camera, in a lot of photos and videos that we've seen of this boot, it's looked very white, but it's actually a cream colorway, and hopefully my camera picks up on that as well. And I think that cream colorway really pairs well with the rest of the boot as opposed to if it was white. And down the sides of the boot, you've got this wavy accelerated design, bit of a red and black, which I think really adds a bit of personality to the boot. And it seems to be the consistent design with this new Predator, because with the new colorway, the full red colorway, you've got that wavy accelerated design as well. So it looks like these waves are going to be consistent throughout all the 2025 Predator models. The tongue itself is a really bright red tongue, and if you know about Predators, you know how iconic a red Predator tongue is. And the cool thing about this upper is it's actually got a bit of a leopard print on it. So on the cream parts and even on the flip tongue, there is a bit of a leopard print, some sort of texture on it, which really adds to the boot as well. And then on the sole plate down the bottom, you've got the same as the 2024 model, but I really like it how it's got a full Predator word right across the bottom. And I mean, obviously when you're playing, you don't see it so often because it's underneath your foot, but it again adds something to the boot as well. So in terms of the design, this is where you'll see a lot of the differences between the 2024 model and the 2025 model. There aren't many, it's not a big difference, but there are some things in there. So the first thing is the Hyper Touch upper. On the 2024 model, it was already really soft and thin, but somehow on the 2025 model, it feels even softer and even thinner as well. There's a bit of a leather type of feel to it. It's a bit of a hard one to describe unless you're actually feeling it. And I'm a bit hesitant to say leather feel because if there are leather boot fans watching this, you're probably going to hate me for saying it. But it's a bit of a rougher texture and you can feel it's softer and thinner as well, which is a good thing because that just means more comfort as well. Now, the other difference between the two models is the strike skin upper, which are these rubber fins that you get on the boot. And on the older model, we had 44 of them, whereas on the newer model, there's only 25 and only 6 rows of them if we don't count the 2 rows on the tongue as well. And with reducing the amount of the rubber fins on there, obviously it takes up less surface area on the boot. So that makes the upper of the boot more flexible and it's going to mold your foot a lot better as well, which is a good thing. But the point of the rubber fins is for added grip on the ball. So while there's lesser fins that makes the upper softer and is going to mold your foot, it does mean there's going to be lesser grip on the ball. And I guess that just comes to personal preference on which one you prefer. And we'll come back to that later in the video. The shape of the tongue on the boot has changed as well. It's more of a narrow and longer shape this time. And I actually like it. I think it makes it almost feels a bit more aggressive. It's like a more of an aggressive tongue. And yeah, I really like this change. It's a small change, but I think again adds to the boot a lot. But in saying that, overall, the two models are pretty much similar. The shape of the boot is very similar. The sole plate is again exactly the same. You know, you've got the standard sole plate with the Predator word on it, as I mentioned before, and you've got the triangular studs, which are just really solid, and it's just a good overall sole plate. Now, looking at the touch you will get on the ball when you wear these boots, obviously, as I said, there are now lesser of the rubber fins on the boot, so when you really go to wrap your foot around the ball, you're going to get a bit of a lesser grip than what you'd have got on the older model. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, that's completely personal preference. For me personally, I don't like having a lot of grip on the ball. I'm not a huge fan of having these fins on it. So on this boot specifically, I actually like the amount. This is something I would wear. But if we go back a few years ago, we had the Predator Edge. You've got the rubber fins that go right around the boot all the way. There's just so many covering the boot. Personally, I never liked it at all. I prefer a smoother upper that maybe has a bit of grip on it, but I'm not a fan of things that stick out on the boot like that. So the change from having a lot of rubber fins on the older model versus lesser now is actually a good thing in my opinion. But there are people out there who like having this grip, so then this may not be a good change. In terms of the fit of the boot, I think the Predator is one of the best fitting boots out there at the moment on the market, and right through all the ranges, the flip tongue, the laced, and the laceless as well, they all just fit really well, and you can wear them if you've got narrow feet or wide feet. The midfoot of the boot is somewhat snug, and then it does widen up a little bit in the forefoot before narrowing down in the toe box as well. But it doesn't narrow too much in the toe box. There's some boots out there where the toe box is really narrow, and then if you've got wide feet like me, you can't get your foot all the way in. But I think this is just the perfect width. And so it goes from snug, widens up a little bit, and then it narrows down just the right amount when you get to the toe box. For all the narrow feet people that are watching right now, you probably just hear me say that the forefoot is wide, and you're probably thinking, how's that going to fit you? But because the upper is really soft, it's going to mold to your foot really well. So as I said, even if you've got a narrow foot, you can wear it. If you've got wide feet, there's a chance that you might need a little bit more break-in time. So just be patient, they will fit, but you will need a bit of break-in time. The heel shape of the boot's actually really good. I think it's the perfect amount of tightness that you need. It's like some boots out there, they're just too loose, and then some boots are too tight around the heel. But I think this one is just the right amount. And with Adidas boots, you've got the heel padding in there, which is always just an added bonus that you get. The one thing I will say is that when you do put the boots on, having the flip tongue on there, it does leave the top of your foot a little bit more exposed. So the top of the boot does sit a little bit lower. And again, personal preference. Personally, I've never been a fan of the low sitting boots. So I remember back in the day, or a few years ago, we had the Adidas X Ghosted, and the biggest thing I didn't like about that boot was the fact that the upper or the top part of the boot sat really low on the top of my foot. And so that was one of the reasons I never wore those boots. I don't like the Superflies where the sock's really high. I just like those mid-cut ones, or I guess you call it the normal boots, where they just sit right around your ankle. But in saying that, I would wear the Predators even though they sit a little bit lower. And I don't know whether that's just that it's comfortable, or the fact that, it's a Predator, it's iconic. You see, now Jude Bellingham wearing it, back in the day, Zidane, Beckham and all that. Maybe that's why I'd wear it, even though it's a low, it exposes your top of your foot a bit more. Or maybe it's more comfortable than the X Ghosted. I guess we'll never know. But if you're not a fan of the top of your foot being exposed, the simple solution is just going for the laced version or the laceless version. The boots, I would say, are just as comfortable, and so that's a great alternative. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the boot bag. So nothing to do with the boots, it's the boot bag, and it's probably, as I said earlier, my favorite change. So Adidas actually stopped making boot bags for a few years. We'll just get the boots in the box and that's it. And then when the Predators came back last year, Adidas brought back the boot bags. And the boot bags that we got were these ones right here. Now, first of all, they look nice. I'll give them that. But there are holes in them, and I just never got the idea of having holes in a boot bag, because you wear your boots, they're dirty, you might put them in the bag, and then the mud's just going to drop through, the sand's going to drop through. So it just didn't make any sense. But the main thing that annoyed me was how thin and flimsy it is. So when you put your boots in the boot bag, it never actually sits well in there. It just moves around a lot. What Nike did really well with their boot bags is that it was very firm. First of all, there are no holes, but the second thing it was just very firm and sturdy, if you like. And the good thing is Adidas this year have changed their boot bag, and now it's more similar to Nike, which, you might say it's a bad thing that they've copied Nike, but it actually doesn't matter, because I think boot bags are one of the standard things that they just have to be almost very similar to each other. So now you've got this new boot bag, which there's no holes, and it's a much better material, much more sturdy. If you put your boots in there, whatever angle you put them in is actually going to stay in as well. And for me, I think that's been the best change. I actually made a video on TikTok. I'll put it in the description as well. Probably around mid last year when I had these boot bags, I made a video saying that Adidas need to change the boot bag, and maybe they watched it, maybe they didn't, who knows. But regardless, they've changed it and it makes me really happy. So overall, the new Predator, the new 2025 Predator, is a really, really good boot. And I think Adidas have done a really good job with, one, the colorway, it's just beautiful. And two, I think the changes they've made have been good as well. And the best part about it is that they've kept the flip tongue. When they brought the flip tongue back, I was wondering, is this going to be a limited edition thing? Is it going to be a 1-year thing? Because first of all, we didn't have the flip tongue for years. And then second of all, it's, how do you continue with the flip tongue for a long period of time? How do you remodel it? But it's good to see that Adidas have remodeled the boot slightly. They've changed the shape of the tongue a little bit. And it seems like we're going to get the flip tongue for hopefully at least another year. And then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, if you are wanting to grab a pair of the new Adidas Predator flip tongues, you can head over to our website, thebootperspective.com. I'll put the link in the description as well, and you can grab your pair now. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe as well. I'm going to be doing more YouTube videos, more boot reviews, so that you guys can watch this and make a choice before you buy the boots. And so if you want me to review a specific boot, or if you have any questions regarding any boots, leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to reply to all of your comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.